Hello guys and welcome back to MTG Ice Cube. It's good to see y'all. Um, I did a recent video on Modern Esperlark, which is a little homebrew list. Uh, but yeah, now we're looking at some of the more reliant uh, modern modern decks. And Storm I actually mentioned in the last video as a deck that I'd recently built, and I love it. I think it's a amazing win condition. It's really versatile. It can win in tight spots. It's kind of good at everything. It's hard. I was gonna say hard to stop, but it's not that hard to stop. But yeah, let's look right into it. So if you don't know what Storm is a mechanic that is on a couple cards, two cards in this deck, and it reads: when you play the spell, copy it for each spell played before it this turn. You may choose new targets for the copies. So basically, what Storm does is when you cast this card, which is Grape Shot, which is our main board win condition, it's going to get copied for each spell we've cast in a turn. So we're trying to cast, in essence, 20 spells in a turn, and then Grape Shot them for lethal damage. So the rest of the cards in the deck are basically trying to help us win with Grape Shot. So one of the main cards is Baral, Chief of Compliance. So Baral is 1 and a blue for a 1/3. Instant sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. That is really important because we have all of these ritual cards. They're crappy modern rituals, but Grape Shot literally turns them into dark rituals, but red, which is really good because I guess the modern mana base does not allow us to run black for actual dark rituals, which aren't in modern. Little side tangent, but anyway, so we run Desperate Ritual and Pyretic Ritual. They do the same thing because the splice onto Arcane doesn't really matter. We also run Manamorphose, which would also be kind of crappy if we didn't have Baral. I mean, it wouldn't be crappy, but it wouldn't be as good. And that's basically our mana filter as a way to get blue mana, and then it also draws us a card. So that's that. That's that. Um, so we run all of these cantrips, Opt, Serum Visions, and Sleight of Hand, to help us draw into our cards, draw into our rituals, draw into our any other way to win the game. So let me go over the other ways that we have to win the game. So we have Remand, which also gets us a counter trigger off Baral, but that's not, and it can counter spells and stuff, but that's not really what we're trying to do with it. So basically what we're trying to do with Remand is you can cast it targeting your own Grape Shot if you have 4 mana left. So you cast Remand, target your own Grape Shot. If you read Storm carefully enough, it says when you play the spell. So before the spell goes on the stack, it makes all the copies, and then it and the copies go on the stack. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to remand the original copy of Grape Shot. The other, 9-10 copies still resolve. So they're still getting hit for a bunch of damage. And then you get Grape Shot back in your hand, and you can cast it again. So that's what, and then Remand also draws a card. So that's good. Then we also run Unsubstantiate, which is kind of the same thing as Remand, except it can get rid of one of our opponent's creatures. And then we run Goblin Electromancer, kind of another version of Baral. So once we have all that mana and we have all the cards in hand from the Sleight of Hands, what do? So what we're trying to do is cast Gifts Ungiven, which is 3 and a blue, or 2 and a blue if you have a Baral on the board, but it says search your library for up to 4 cards with different names and reveal them. Target opponent chooses 2 of these cards, puts the chosen cards into your graveyard and the rest into your hand, then shuffle your library. So basically, you have to look for 4 different cards with 4 different names, and your opponent chooses 2, and you get those 2, and then the other 2 go to your graveyard. So generally what you're looking for is Manamorphose for blue, or any of the rituals, and then maybe if you don't have a Grape Shot already, you're going to want to look for a Grape Shot, maybe a Remand if you need that combo kill. But what you really need is Past in Flames. So Past in Flames, even if your opponent doesn't let you have it, and since it's your graveyard, you can still flash it back. So Past in Flames reads, each instant sorcery in your graveyard gains flashback until end of turn. The flashback cost is equal to its mana cost. So you're gonna, in essence, all of the cards in your graveyard which you've cast this turn can now be recast. So with Past in Flames, you're recasting all your cards. You can recast all your rituals, you can recast all your cantrips, get more cards, cast more stuff, and it generates a lot of value. And even if your opponent also doesn't let you have your Grape Shot, you can still recast it because it has flashback with Past in Flames. So with all those cards, you should be able to win the game lethally. That's how the main deck works. Just a quick look at the mana base. It's 4 islands, 1 mountain, 4 Sheevan Reefs, Spiral of Canals, Steam Vents. Some people run snow-covered islands instead of normal islands. I don't really care. Some people run Scalding Tarn, but if you want to keep the budget down, I mean, it's $312, which is on the cheaper side for a modern deck. But yeah, run Scalding Tarn if you want to. I find Spiral of Canal quicker, and it also is better against grindy matchups. But with that said, let's look at the sideboard. So we run, I hope you guys know what Lightning Bolt does. We run 2 of them in sideboard because, hey, we need removal for things like Eidolon of the Great Revel, or Thalia, or Gaddock Teague that destroy our deck. So we also run Pieces of the Puzzle. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library. Put up to 2 instant sorcery cards from among them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. So it fills up your graveyard if you want to recast stuff with Past in Flames, and it gets you instant sorceries into your hand for only 3 mana or 2 if you have a Brawl on the board. So it's really good when you're storming off. We run 2 of those, and then Empty the Warrens as an alternate win condition. It has Storm, and it creates 2 1/1 red goblins. So with that, you can cast 30 or 40 goblins in a turn. It's a bit crazy. Then we have Dismember. We pay the Phyrexian mana, and it gives it -5/-5 until end of turn. Shattering Spree, 1 mana to destroy target artifact, and it has Replicate for 1 red. And then Abrade is basically just another Lightning Bolt, but for 1 more mana, and then it can destroy an artifact instead. So now this is actually a really recent sideboard update that I saw, but we run 4 Madcap Experiment. I don't know what you're thinking. What the hell is that? Madcap Experiment, 3 in a red. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal an artifact card. Put that card onto the battlefield and the rest onto the bottom of your library in a random order. Madcap Experiment deals damage to you equal to the number of cards revealed this way. So you're looking to get Platinum Empyrean. So you're trying to find Madcap. So you cast Madcap Experiment, and then you don't run any artifacts in main board. So what you're looking for is if you side in Madcap Experiment, you have to put in both Empyreans, but you get the Empyreans, and so your life total can't change, so you obviously can't take the damage from the Madcap Experiment that it would be dealing to you. And then so yeah, if you have that on the board, it's GG unless they kill it. But even if they do kill it, you still have another Empyrean in your deck, and you can maybe draw into it or draw into another Madcap Experiment to go and find it. So with Empyrean on the board, it's Pillow Fort. No one can touch your life total. I mean, unless they're playing Infect, but that's not really a big deck in Modern. Then Platinum. So then you can also cast Empty the Warrens if you want to bring that in as well. If they have some sort of like Leyline of Sanctity, prevents you from targeting them with Grape Shot. And yeah, that's basically how the deck works. I find it resilient and amazing. Whoever brewed it is a genius. And I love this deck to death. I hope you all will build it and love it too. And it's on the budget. The good news is it's on the budget end of modern decks. at only about $300. So if you don't want to spend 1.5k on Jund, then buy this deck. It's tier 1, it's wonderful, I love it. Hope you do too. Peace out. This is MTG Ice Cube. Bye bye.